So I've decided to take a quick little lunch break, and since it's like my only time to film, I was like, let me make this video real quick since y'all obviously need it. So basically just gonna be talking about how I have afforded living in SF. It's basically just been me working a lot of hours and multiple jobs. So I had my freshman year, I started working at the SFSU bookstore. So I started college in 2016, and I worked there starting August 2016. And the way that I started working there is that at freshman I'm giving you guys my Wi-Fi password. Okay, at freshman orientation, they are recruiting people. So basically they're like, if you want to work at the bookstore, email us at this email address and like send us your resume and stuff. And then I went in for an interview, whatever. I was only working there August through September because it was a seasonal thing, like only when they need hella people there for like book returns and like because everyone's buying their books obviously at the beginning, so they needed people to like be there all the time. And so I worked there, and sometimes they would send me to City College as well. I thought I would be making like good amount of money because it was $13 minimum, so I was like, wow, I'm about to be balling. But I wasn't, because I would only work about 20 hours a week, so it was like nothing really. Like my paychecks were like $300, I don't know, like it was really small, and that was like every 2 weeks, and my rent was about $630, like I mentioned in the last video. So that ended in September, and I was kind of like living off of my financial aid for the next 2 months, which, hold on, let me add the beans in there real quick. Okay, so then once that ended, I was like high-key stressed over money because I had scholarship money. I got a pretty good scholarship from my high school and my financial aid, so like I was good. But the thing about me is that I don't like to ask my parents for money. So I was scared that I was going to have to do that because I knew that, like, you know, like, it's my responsibility. And so I started looking for all sorts of jobs, and then I started working for this, like, tech company, and they paid $15 an hour, and the minimum, like I said, was $13 before. So I was like, ooh, yes. But once again, that was, like, a very, like, you never really knew when you were going to work. Like, they would send out weekly schedules, and then you signed up for whichever shifts you wanted to work. And sometimes there were no shifts in San Francisco, so I couldn't work that week. And it was just like, it wasn't stable enough. So I was still looking for something else. And then finally I started working at this other place, a lovely bagel place. And that was $13 an hour. BRB! I don't know what to do. How do I turn off? Whew. Alright, that's not the first time it happens to me. My shit is not burning. It's just that, like, I don't have the fan on. Let me figure this out real quick. Fan. Well, I don't know how to turn the fan on, so I'll just turn the heat down, I guess. Anyway, so then, okay, that's too hot. So then I started working at this bagel place, and once again, that was like 20 to 25 hours a week. And the more that like I worked there, and like I never called out, I was like a really good employee there, so they liked me and they started giving me more hours. And then I got a raise, and everyone was like, oh my god, you should be a shift lead. And I was like, oh hell no, like I don't know shit. Like this was like after 2 months of working there. And so I kept getting raises because of my outstanding performance. And then after I became a shift lead there, so with the raises, at first I was making like, I think the highest that the most I was making was like $13.50 by like spring of 2017. And then they were like, oh, like, do you want to become a shift lead? Like that one pays $14. And I was like, for 50 cents more, like, really. And so I was not down to become a shift lead. And then since they really needed a shift lead, they were like, we'll pay you $1 more. And I was like, all right, yes. So then I was making $14.50, and I would work, that spring I started working a lot more, and that's why they were kind of like, you might as well just become a shift lead. And so I would work about 36 hours a week. Like, it was always 27 to 36 hours a week. I was part-time though. And so then I became a shift lead. I started making $14.50 an hour, and I would always work at least 35 hours. That's like the minimum for shift leads. The only reason they wouldn't give me 40 hours is because I was a student. Then that summer I started working at the place next door, which was a burrito place, and that paid $13.50, because I think the minimum may have gone up. No, the minimum was gonna go up, and that's why they were already the minimum was gonna go up that summer, so they were paying me $14. So I think they were paying me like 14 cents less than my original job. And so everyone was like, you might as well go over there, because I hated this, like my bagel job. I hated that job so much. And then I was still working at the tech place this entire time. So that summer I had 3 jobs. And then in the fall I quit the burrito place because there was a creepy man there and I was scared. And then I was working at the bagel place and the tech place. And that December, I got hired at a radio station. So once again, I had 3 jobs, and I would work like all the time. Literally, I was always, anytime that someone saw me, they were like, hey, what's up? Where are you going? I'd be like, work. Like, I was always wearing some type of uniform, like some type of t-shirt for work. And so everyone was like, you're always at work. I'm like, yeah, I know. Then, so that was fall 2017. Spring 2017, I was still working all 3 of those. And I kept asking for raises at my bagel place because I dealt with so much shit, you guys. Like, I was like, this is not paying me enough money. I was trying to quit since like November of 2017, and they would not let me. Like, they were like, no, like, we really need you. What do we need to do to keep you? And I was like, I'm out, I'm fed up. And so then they gave me like a $2 raise. So I was making $16.50, and I was like, you know what, like, this is pretty good money, so I'm gonna stay. And then that whole spring I was making $16.50 there, $15 at the tech, and $14 at the radio station. Then I left the bagel place May because I knew I was going to study abroad, and I was like, I'm trying to live my best life before I leave, so F this job. I'm quitting that one, and I was working tech and radio that whole summer and left to study abroad. Wasn't working anywhere. Came back, still had savings, so I've basically been living off of my savings, and I work radio, which is minimum, which is $15 now. So I make minimum wage there, and my paychecks come out to be like $300 every 2 weeks, maybe. So it's like I'm barely making rent money, but I do have savings, so that's fine. And I work the tech job whenever I want because that job is so boring to me that I don't like going to work there. But yeah, so that's basically like how I've afforded living here. I just work all the time, and my financial aid covers my tuition, so I don't have to worry about that. Aside from that, I don't go shopping very often because I've always had to wear uniforms. Like, I don't need clothes. What else do people do? Socializing, I don't get to do much of that because I'm always at work or school. Now I do have a little bit more time, but I just go to coffee shops and do work. And food, I've been eating out a lot, but usually I wouldn't because I would eat at work or I would meal prep. But now it's like, it's really hard to make time. But if you like make time for that, it saves you so much more money. And my rent has never been that expensive, so I've been making it. So yeah, that's how I have afforded living in SF, and I hope this video was somewhat helpful, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Next week is my birthday. Next Tuesday is my birthday, so I'm gonna go get my nails done probably that Tuesday. What color should I get? I'm thinking like a blue. I have red nails right now, but like I did this myself, so Yeah, I'm thinking blue because that's my favorite color. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If this was helpful, let me know. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.